Have you ever watched a 2-year-old go through life, go through their day? They're constantly moving. They have so much energy and constantly learning, right? They're sponges. They're learning how to walk, talk. They're learning how to taste. They're touching everything. Learning about textures. As they get older, they're learning how to speak. They learn how to read mathematics. Where do they get all that energy from? Today, I'm going to talk about growth mindset and how you can kind of bring some of that energy and the insatiable desire to keep learning, keep growing, and be successful in your life. Hey everyone, my name is Barka Herman, and I am going to talk about how to achieve career success through a growth mindset today. So growth mindset's been around for a long time. I think Descartes said, cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. So that's a clue. Also, historically, Buddhists have talked about and Hindus have talked about mindset and how to use mindset to create your reality in this, world. So today I'm going to talk about 5 things that have worked for me and how I leverage growth mindset to create success in my life. So let's get started. The first tip I have is believe in your abilities. So going back to that 2-year-old, right? The 2-year-old is never thinking, oh, should I stop trying to stand up? They get frustrated. They throw tantrums. They cry, but they get right back up, right? They don't give up the belief in their abilities. So they keep trying. How many times a day do you think that they try to stand up? Hundreds. And it doesn't happen in a day. It's going to take them weeks. But they keep going and they keep working on it. That's the belief in your ability. And I think that as we grow older, we kind of start believing in some of these things like, oh, I'm not really good at X, or I'm not really good at Y, so why even bother? That's the fixed mindset. That's not the growth mindset. The growth mindset is the belief that, oh, I am not good at this, but let me work on it and fix it. That's the growth mindset. So believing in your abilities. And of course, kids are learn-it-alls. They're not know-it-alls. They act like they are, but they're sponges. They're learning constantly. And growth requires this learn-it-all mentality, not coming from a place of, oh, I don't want to know about that, or I already know everything I need to know about life or this topic or this project. That's important. Okay? The next tip that really works for me is be patient and persistent. The saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And believe it or not, success is a journey. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. All of the overnight successes I know took decades to happen, right? So then the final day is when we kind of focus in and go, oh, look at that. They went live on, they landed this job, or they graduated from this college, or they got admissions into this university. What about all the time that they spend getting there, right? So we forget that. So it's going to be a long journey. It's going to be a journey. And it's extremely important to be patient with yourself and be persistent. So being persistent and patient is very important. Stay motivated. Speaking of persistence and patience, how do you stay motivated? So my way of doing this is when I sign up for a project, and the project may require me to put in a lot of learning time, a lot of doing time, and a lot of collaborating time. And all of those can be frustrating. And there are days when I just don't feel like doing it. However, when I look at a project and I have those frustrating days, I think back to, why am I doing this, right? Why did I accept this project? Why am I doing this? What's the underlying motivation? That helps me get over whatever I'm feeling temporarily, which will pass, of course, because you will have good days and bad days. And then the other thing that I tend to do is I celebrate each step. So let's say that, it took me 3 days to figure out how to do something, which I maybe thought it was going to take an hour. But then I actually celebrate. Oh, wow, an hour went by, I learned something. What did I learn? That it's going to take 3 days or maybe a day. Who knows, right? I learned something. This problem is not as easy. Then I try to solve it. And at the end of the 3 days, I celebrate. Yay, I got it. I did it. So celebrating each step, because what we tend to do is we'll say, oh, I'm going to work on this project. And let's say that the project takes 3 months to do, whatever that project may be. You wait for the end of 3 months to celebrate. Well, guess what? All your trials and tribulations, all your learnings, all your successes have actually happened on a daily basis for all those 3 months. Every time you get a little closer to the end of the project is a celebration. So rather than, and I'm not saying don't celebrate at the end, but I celebrate each step. Also, figure out a way to enjoy the journey. And believe me, if you start celebrating each step, you will enjoy the journey. You will gamify your project, right? How can you celebrate each day? How can you enjoy the journey? What are you getting out of it? Focus on the goal, celebrate steps, enjoy the journey. Be open to feedback. This is using the Agile methodology for life, right? Remember when we used to do waterfall development? I'm old enough to remember that, but it's like we spend months planning, then we spend months writing specs, then we spend months developing the program, then we spend months testing, and at the end of all of that, you kind of come back to, oh, we had that one premise wrong in the project. Don't be like that. Be agile. So build, test, iterate, repeat. If it's a project that you've signed up for, if you get feedback on it early in the loop, you'll learn, and you'll learn to pivot. It's kind of like sailing a boat in the ocean. So the sailboat doesn't ever go straight. It's always doing zigzags towards the destination, because there's pivot based on the wind, the water, environmental conditions, right? So it's a constant pivot. It's never a straight line. It looks like a straight line if you go all the way out, depending on your context, right? But if you zoom in, there's a lot of daily pivots. And those iterations, those building, testing, and iterating comes from constant feedback. Ask for feedback. Learn, evaluate, and pivot as needed. And finally, embrace challenges. All growth is outside of your comfort zone. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. It's true. So not only we talk about exercising our mind, brain, body, and brain, but we need all three. We need exercising. Just like exercising your body builds muscles, because you're tearing your muscles and building them stronger, so does your brain, so does your mind. When you're constantly learning, and when you're constantly pushing your mindset beyond what your current belief system, current comfort zone is, that'll actually end up with growth. That'll end up having higher achievement, higher goals. I feel like in my life, I have achieved more than what I ever thought possible as a child growing up, right? And that has been because I've been growth hacking all my life. So in conclusion, growth mindset is a great place to start in achieving success in your career, in your business, in your life, and in general. Let me know what you think about this. How many of these tips do you exercise currently? And if I'm missing something, please let me know by commenting. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching.